Hey, I'm Jamey from Stonemaier Games, and today I'm going to talk about my favorite mechanism in the expansion to Dominion called Rising Sun. I played this digitally on the new Dominion app on Steam and really enjoyed it. It's a really, really well done app, in my opinion, and I had a great time playing it. It was a purchase in addition to this core Dominion app. I think it was around $10. I think it was well worth it. I had a great time playing it. I would probably play it in some idle moments in the future as well. Played 2 games of it. Actually, one of the reasons I want to play is that I lost to the very easy AI twice in a row. So I need to come back and try to do a little bit better and try to beat the very easy AI. So let me switch over to this screen and show you what this expansion looks like. So there's a mix. If you play it digitally, you'll see a mix of cards from the core game and cards from Rising Sun specifically, which is a feudal Japan themed expansion. And 2 of the mechanisms I mentioned are specific to Rising Sun, and another one is new to me. So the new to me one I'll mention, and let's see if I have an image for it, is that's tied to that. Yeah, here we go. The new to me one is debt. And I believe this mechanism existed in Dominion before Rising Sun, but this is new to me. So this mechanism is, instead of, there are certain cards in the game that have debt on them. So you can buy them for free. There is no coin cost to buy a card with debt. So if I buy the Daimyo, it costs me nothing. However, at the end of every turn from then on, if you play the Daimyo, not when you gain it, I believe, but when you play it, I might have that wrong. Might be when you, yeah, one of the two. It's either when you play it or no, it's when you gain it. It isn't when you play it. It's when you gain the card. You go into debt by, in this case, 6 coins. So at the end of every turn, you, at least in the app, you are told, hey, can you pay off your debt? And if you can, then you pay 6 coins or whatever you've paid so far. It might take multiple turns to pay off the debt. And if you haven't paid off your debt, then you are very limited in what you can do in the game. You can't, I believe you can't buy cards. And I think that's the main thing. I think you can't buy cards. So it limits you from then on until you are ready to pay, until you've paid off the debt. So I like that. I feel like I haven't described it as accurately as I could have there. So feel free to clarify in the comments. It's been a couple days since I played this, but yeah, I like the idea of getting a card for free. So in a game where you might not have the coins that you want to buy a really interesting card, you can say, okay, I will just go into debt. I'll buy the Daimyo. It'll take a few turns to pay off, and that's okay. I know that I won't be able to buy a few cards for a few turns. That's fine. It also has these event cards, and I think these are really cool. I really, really enjoy these. Perhaps they're in another set, but they're definitely new to me in Rising Sun, where every time you play a card like this, the Poet as an example, it means that you remove this token, this type of timing token, from the event. And after all the tokens are removed from it, the event happens. And so they often have a different setup mechanism. Like this one says you add an attack kingdom card to the pile to make sure there is an attack card, because the mechanism of this card is after you play an attack card, gain +1 coin. So after this event is in motion, then it changes the way that attack cards are played. There are a lot of interesting events. In fact, there was one that like wiped all the cards off the board and replaced them with completely new cards. So some of them are pretty dramatic events. I thought they were pretty neat. But my favorite mechanism of the game is the shadow mechanism. So you can see the Tanuki here. It has a shadow mechanism. It seems really powerful to me, but I'm guessing it is balanced based on the cost of the cards. It's this line right here. You can play this from your deck as if it's in your hand. So these cards are double-sided. That's why it has this little icon here. On the other side isn't a standard back of the card for Dominion. It is a different side of the card. So when this card is in your deck, it is also in your hand. It is only not in your hand when it is in your discard pile. So when you buy it or after you play it, if you haven't reshuffled your deck yet, this card isn't available. But otherwise, the Tanuki, if it's in my deck, I can play it as if it's in my hand. And I think this works in Dominion because Dominion has limited actions. You can't just take as many actions as you want, like in many more modern deck building games. But it works in Dominion with the limited actions. The Tanuki is not the only card like this. I think there were some other cards with the shadow mechanism. Tanuki was one. It has this little icon right here. Yeah, the Fishmonger was the other one. And it just felt great. It felt great every time you had this card in your deck because it felt like an extension of your hand. And you didn't have to use up card draws in your hand because it was just there. It was there for you to use in your deck. So the idea that you could have a card in your deck that you can play at any time, as long as it's in your deck, as if it's in your hand, was awesome. I really love that. Like I said, I don't think it would work in every deck building game, but it works in Dominion with limited actions. Really cool mechanism. Shadow, the events, the idea of debt. I'd love to hear your thoughts if you've played Rising Sun or if you've played a more recent Dominion expansion. I haven't played them in a while, so I'm not familiar with many of the new mechanisms. If you have a favorite Dominion mechanism to highlight in those newer expansions, let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear about it. Maybe I'll try one of the other expansions that are available on the digital app. Thanks.